Get ready to improve your mindset, increase your skill set, and expand your network. Follow along as the CEO of Master Networks brings you over a decade of business networking experience. Welcome to Word of Mouth with Chaz Wilson. Summer Series featuring the Master Networks HQ staff. Today's guest is our social media specialist, Paige Hare.
All right, so today we have Paige here from our team. Who's Paige? Tell everyone what your job, role, and responsibility is at Master Networks.
So I'm the social media specialist. So basically, I am in control of all of the social media platforms. So it's pretty fun stuff.
So if we see something on social media, it was you for the most part.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's me.
And how long you been with us?
Since November. So
Awesome.
A little bit over 6 months now.
So tell us about what you love about working at Master Networks.
I love the environment. The environment's great. Everyone here is friends, and that's something that I love because when I wanted to find a job in social media, I definitely wanted an environment where I could share my ideas and know that I was supported, almost like there was no bad idea. And so that was super important, and I definitely found that here. So every content meeting, every marketing meeting, it's great.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that during your interview, that was one of the biggest things you were looking for in your next opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So as a business owner, people are, those watching today are always thinking about how and why do I use social media as a business owner? So before we get to like the different platforms and what to do, just overall, why should a business owner really dive into using social media as part of their business strategy?
Digital marketing these days is insane. It's constantly changing, and I think it's a tool that a lot of people miss out on. I think whether people realize it or not, the amount that they're using their cell phones and their computers and the amount of advertising that they're exposed to on a daily basis, whether they realize it or not, is incredible. And it's the day now. Digital marketing is definitely where we're at. So I don't think that any business could miss out on it.
Especially if you look at how much you're on your phone each day and how many purchases you make
Mm-hmm.
from your phone. And by the way, social media just isn't your phone, right? It's the platforms that are there. And it's social. So in a business, your job is to connect with people. So how do you take what we do at Master Networks and translate that into social media? And how can other business owners learn? Like, do you have any tips or strategies they should be doing?
Yeah, so it's all about strategy. That's the biggest thing. It's going to depend on what kind of business you have. So for Master Network specifically, you look at it as a networking company, right? We are all about building relationships. And so we really want to show that through our social media. So a lot of what we advertise is the relationships that are built through Master Networks. And so it varies depending on what your business is. But for instance, like a real estate agent, Instagram is a great platform that would be used for that because you get to visualize, the houses that you're representing, what's available, and really be able to pull your clients in.
Yeah, it brings them into that piece. So again, I'm a business owner. What should I be doing every day via social media? Like, should I be posting every day? What's the frequency? Like, what should I be doing just if I was going to get started?
Yeah, so again, that kind of pulls into what your strategy is. However, consistency is key. So I definitely recommend posting weekly, multiple times a week. Engagement is also a huge thing. So if people are interacting with your posts, never miss out on it. Make sure you're responding to comments. So make sure you're noticing the engagement and you're staying on top of all of that because that's super important. And if a person is looking at your company and they see that you're not engaging with it, it kind of leaves a bad taste in their mouth and they're kind of like, okay, these people probably don't really care as much about their clients as an account with people who are constantly responding and making sure to stay on top of it.
So good.
So with that context, what is engagement for social media platforms? Because I hear that word a lot, and what does that mean?
Yeah, so it means a lot of different things. So my mind jumps straight to comments. So when people are interacting with your posts, so a lot of times if they have a question about something you're selling or this or that, make sure you're responding to their questions, answering them, and that you're prompt with it. It can also mean sharing a post, liking, all of that. So just making sure that if someone is sharing your post, that you're interacting with their share, and so that way it reaches more audiences.
I think if you go back years ago and look at what businesses used to do to try to get the eyeballs, right? Like, 'cause you want to be known. You really had, like, if you looked at, you had some radio you could do, you had TV where you had the big, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox. Like, those are the big four, but that cost so much money and most people didn't have that. And if they did, I mean, you really were broadcasting it to anyone and everyone that was watching that station. And I think one of the values that you look at, and I'd love your take on this, is it's social media. the big four that were TV. Now it's, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, maybe Twitter, could be, TikTok, could be any of these that are out there that you use. And for the most part, they're free.
Yes.
And if you want to pay, you could target exactly who your ideal customer and your ideal target is, right? So how do you see that playing out for a business owner that continues with these platforms?
Yeah, so organic advertising is huge. And again, social media is that for the most part. Obviously, Facebook has, abilities to do paid ads and things like that. But that's what's great is, say you're a business owner on a budget. You don't have a lot of money to put towards advertising.
Which, by the way, is most.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. It's so important to make sure that you're staying on top of your social media because you have this ability to market to your clients. And so doing that organically, you're not having to spend money, but you're still able to reach so many people and new clients and bring in new audiences that really you're totally missing out if you're not using it.
Do you think a business owner should manage their own social media or should they outsource it?
I definitely think it depends on the business and how busy they are. I think, if you have the time, do it yourself because I think that helps with you being able to show what you're all about, and especially with the messaging. If you hire someone to do that and they don't really understand who you are or what you do, there could be that miscommunication in how they're running your social media. So if you have the time to do it, but again, if you don't, that's a missed opportunity, right? Because you want to stay consistent on top of using all the platforms. And if you're not doing that, you're missing an opportunity. So, I think it depends on the situation. I think it could work either way, but definitely making sure that messaging is hitting the right audience is key.
I always think it's funny that people are like, I really don't know what to post on social media. Like, I have no idea on my business what to post. And yet, been my experience that those people, when I look up their social media, they post about the shoes they bought and the dinner they had and all that stuff, right? Like, there's all the things they're posting. And then when it comes to their business, like, I don't know what to say. And I remember Gary Vaynerchuk talking about years ago, like document. Like just document your journey if you don't know where else to start. Do you agree with that or thoughts?
Absolutely. I know here at HQ, one of my things with our strategy is trying to show people a little bit more about HQ and who we are and what we do behind the scenes. So whenever we're doing photo shoots or things like this where we're filming podcasts, I love to show the viewers like a little bit of a behind the scenes clip so they can kind of get a better understanding of really what we do and know that there are behind the scenes things happening and there's a team that's making this all work. And I think that definitely helps create that visual and build that relationship with that person to see who we are. So I definitely am.
Yeah, sometimes I hear people say, well, like, who wants to know my journey and my story? Then I stop and I think about all the reality TV shows that are on TV that are like, dirty jobs and, catching fish and rehabbing houses. And you look at all these things that are out there that are just sort of like normal day-to-day activities, day-to-day careers and jobs, and yet they've created a whole, series of shows around those. So people want to know what you're doing, what you're seeing, and what you're doing each day. You just have to document it and make it exciting and entertaining. But if nothing else, just document the journey you're on.
Absolutely.
You had mentioned earlier that social media is constantly evolving, and we're talking about strategies now, but do you find the strategies evolve with the social media as it evolves? And how do you stay on top of that?
Yeah, it's a crazy journey. So I know our marketing manager, Katie, and we just recently sat down a few weeks ago because when I first started, I came in here and created a strategy for what I thought would be best with our social media, and it's already changed. And that's how crazy it is. It's constantly changing. And especially with the evolvement of new platforms like TikTok, for instance, that's something that we had never really looked into. And now that it's growing to be so big, we now have a TikTok account that we never thought we'd probably have. And so you're always
So how many platforms are you managing?
Oh, gosh. I can't even list them all. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok. So 6. And then also Workplace, but Workplace is a little bit more.
Yeah, so like 7 platforms times Master Networks, plus you do some of my stuff, plus some of the regional postings and stuff. So it's like lots and lots of platforms and messaging.
And I think I will say it's fun though, because all of them have different audiences. So like the strategies are different for each platform. So for me, that's fun because with Instagram, it's a bit more visual. So I like to get excited on like what creative visual we want to give them. But then with TikTok, it's a little bit more behind the scenes. Like you don't think about it as much. And then with Facebook, again, it's a little bit more thought out and strategized. So it's just fun having all of the abilities to have these creative ideas and be able to implement them in different platforms.
Which platform is your favorite?
Oh gosh. I hate to say, yeah, you already know.
What?
I hate to say this, but probably TikTok.
Yeah.
And I say that because I feel like I spend so much time when I go on it and I don't even realize
I know.
am.
It's a time drain.
It is, but like it's so entertaining. It's a dark hole though. I will admit, like when I get on it, I think
I mean, it's not a surprise. You guys have been trying to get us to do a TikTok channel for like 6 months, maybe a year. And we finally did. We finally took that jump. But yeah, I mean, I think regardless of the platform, because that's where I think people get hung up, right? Is regardless of the platform, pick one, dominate it, get your message there, and keep going. Don't get overwhelmed by, I've got to do 6, 7, 8 platforms. That won't get you anywhere because you're diluting your effort, your time, your message, everything. So just dominate a platform that you think your target is going to be on the most, because otherwise you're spending a lot of time.
Exactly.
Right?
No, I think that's great advice. Definitely stick with one if you're just starting out, and really build your audience there. And if you feel like you have the time to build up to adding the other platforms in, then go for it. But definitely start small, because if you try to use all at once, you're going to get completely overwhelmed if you've never.
Like, for example, let's just give those watching just a little behind the scenes. So, and I set my phone down so it doesn't vibrate on the table. But like, for example, when because I can't manage all of the platforms either. That's why we have a team to do that. But for me, when I'm doing something, I might, video on Instagram or whatever, I'll do the stories, because that's the one I can just quickly click and upload. But the way that we've managed that then is you're able to take those stories and turn them into other posts and other things. So it's repurposing. But to your point, I know that I'm not going to manage every platform. I'm not going to be on every platform. So for me, that was the easiest platform, which I also stole from some other entrepreneurs and business owners. They're like, this is where I do it. Yeah. And then my team takes it from there. But I only share that because if I tried to do all of it, it would be so overwhelming to try to do that. So just start somewhere, right? Just start somewhere.
Well, and also another great tip is that if you have, say, like quite a bit of time on the weekend or something, schedule posts in advance.
Yeah.
So if you are working on staying consistent, scheduling posts in advance is a huge help, especially if you're just starting to use social media.
Totally agree. Well, lots of great insight. Thank you today for all of that. I mean, I think that it's important, number one, to introduce our team to the world, but also understanding what each person does on the team and how it all comes together. So for those of you watching, as you watch each of these episodes with the members of our team, I want you to understand, and you'll start to see how it all comes together by each person's role and comes into a cohesive way that we pull off and execute the mission that is Master Network. So Paige, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Beach or swimming pool, and why?
Can I choose patio?
No, it was A or B.
Who are you?
She's going to choose something different.
No,
I'm a beach girl all the way. Like, you will find me in Florida on the beach. Maybe not in the ocean, but you'll find me on the beach.
Why not in the ocean?
The ocean's a scary place. It's a scary place, but the beach is beautiful.
Yeah, beach. That's connected to the ocean.
Yeah, definitely in the water though.
Do you swim in the ocean?
Yeah.
Yes.
What would you choose?
Beach, for sure.
Beach, yeah.
I mean,
same.
if I'm going to be outside in the sun, not on a patio, then it would have to be the beach.
The thing I do like about the beach is I go somewhere because the sand. Having little kids, the sand is everywhere.
Oh my God.
It's everywhere. So that's the one downside of the beach versus a pool. But
you have to admit, like, laying out by the beach or laying out on the beach, like, there's something about the vitamin C, you know? That vitamin C.
No.
Okay.
Vitamin C is not the sun. It's vitamin D. You mean C is in the ocean, the sea.
That's what I meant. It's the play on words.
Ocean with a capital C.
That's going to stay. See you next week.
See you next week. Next week on Word of Mouth.
When I go to a restaurant, I go out to eat, and I notice how many employees are working versus how many patrons are in the restaurant. And I'm like, okay, they have like a 3-to-1 ratio. They have too many. Their staff, they're going to overpay on payroll versus, I know, it's just how I like roll. I just
putting your brand in front of enough people, like from a video, and if that is in documenting your journey, and if that's a really good way, which I think with the culture you guys have created, it does really work.
We're trying to tell the story.
We're trying to tell, we from there we get to tell that story.
Yeah.
Where instead, again, narrative filmmaking, you have to create the story. You have to create everything from scratch. Where here we have a basis. How do we tell this story